guys, welcome to the Beautiful Brains. This is Kate and
MJ.
yeah, it's been quite a minute.
Yeah.
We haven't posted a video for a while, but that's because we were traveling and yeah, there was so much going on in between there. So today we're just making a nice quick video.
Yeah.
And we will be showing you guys our activity room. Normally we upload photos of the boys doing maths, drawings, and everyone is always like, how do you get these boys to actually sit down and participate in these activities? So first, we will show you in this video, we will show you guys our activity room, how we sorted it out, and also we'll talk you through how we actually got to this point where they can actually sit down and do maths and do phonics and also do their funny drawings and games and everything.
Yeah.
But then it hasn't been easy, but by the grace of God and persistence, we have actually gotten to this point.
True, yeah. I think it has taken us for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is our theater of dreams.
Yeah.
And here is where we radically do surgeries for the cognitive development. We also refine their communication as well as social skills. And not just the academic stuff, we also do extracurricular activities around this space. And we try to mix it both with serious stuff, less serious stuff, and just silly stuff. So we just make it lively for the boys.
Basically. And then what I normally usually tell parents, don't feel pressured. When you see we are doing what we are doing here, let me tell you, it's taken us a long time. As Dad has said, it's taken us 3 years. And even in these 3 years, we didn't start with 1 + 1 or 2 + 2. No, we actually started with drawing random things. We actually started by, let me say, exploring the boys' imaginations, and they would draw random pictures on paper, and slowly over time we moved on to 1 to 5. We actually started with 1 to 3 because let me tell you guys, the boys wouldn't get to write number 3 properly. Like 3 was always facing that other side.
But even before we started the serious stuff like the numbers or the alphabet, remember at first the boys were non-verbal, so they couldn't express themselves, and to some extent you couldn't tell to what extent have they understood what you are telling them. So we dropped all that seriousness of a class and just started with just trying to understand, can we get to know their imagination at the level in which they are. So we started doing like a homeschooling stuff when they were about 5 years for the eldest. The young one was about 3.5. And the first stages, they were basically more of trying to capture their brain, what's going inside there, and if they can be able to express it out. So we would just give them a pencil and or a chalk or a whiteboard and just do something with it. And that's the time we started to see they have different ways of expressing themselves using art and increasingly encouraging them. Then we moved on to the getting the play-dohs and having them do a couple of stuff with them, model whatever they wanted to model, and we are just there encouraging them and cheering them on. Remember, at this first stage, it is not what we know, it's actually what they know or what they think the world looks like, and they can be able to show us. I
think it gets really frustrating for parents because when parents are going to teach these kids, they are focused on teaching them, what we as parents know and what, let me say, we people who don't have special needs know. Like, I remember me the first time I was trying to teach Jaden, like my approach was like, I write 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm expecting him to do the same. It won't work.
Shock on your life.
It won't work, So it doesn't work that way. Work with your child with their capabilities. If they're drawing random things on paper, start from there. That's how it starts.
And taking like a very, very simple step backwards. Kids with autism, ADHD, or selective mutism, sometimes they struggle a lot with the fine motor skills. So these kids, they don't know how to hold a pencil. even when you give them things like the Play-Doh, they can just hold them and they actually don't know what to do. And sometimes because of sensitivity of things like the light, it really gets difficult for a parent to get to the right setup of whatever space you wanted to teach them something. So it starts there with adjusting a lot of things, trying to get them into their most comfortable spot. The room, you can set it the way you want, and basically they come in and they're like, I don't want you to sit on that side. I want to sit on the other, or I don't like the kind of lighting you have put in here. So we also started with things like these ones, and just having them try to pop these things up, farm them, their fine motor skills. Before we get to the pencil part, I think they had worked with a lot of tools in the house.
And I think for us, the pencil part and those fancy pictures you're seeing us put online, I think it's been the last year. Mostly we've been using, most of the time, like the last 3 years, what we've been doing is Play-Doh, these fidgety toys, and then Jaden likes sticking. When I'll do the tour, you'll see a lot of drawings and things that Jaden has done. He likes sticking things on paper. So that is what we were doing. So slowly, as you know, people take these things for granted. As you're working with Play-Doh, you're working on these muscles on your hands. So slowly you could see, oh wow, Justin, he's slowly holding the pencil, the corrector. And there's no like perfect corrector of holding the pencil. The corrector according to him is fine. And I think for us it's been easier because we haven't tried to force them to hold a pencil right. Because I remember growing up, we had to hold the pencil right.
In fact, someone like Jaden started expressing his usage of the hands using mostly the left hand. So he could hold a knife or a spoon, a fork with the left. So when we started coming to the class, kind of like a staff, he started holding the pencil with the left hand. And we are like, can you do it with the right? And it was terrible fail. So we actually stopped that and let him do whatever he has to do with the whatever hand he feels is right for him. And increasingly, when he started seeing us using the right hand, he started shifting. For us, it was basically trying to look, are there any difficulties he is having with using the right hand? And when we spoke to a couple of experts, they were like, kids at that stage, they can actually use both hands. So increasingly, the one which will be much more lighter for them or stronger, they take it over. So today, he just uses the right hand in the right. And then another challenge we did face was converting ourselves as teachers, as parents who can teach the kids. So remember, we are their emotional comfort. We are their safe space. So whatever challenge they have, they come to us. Now, the problem with the teaching is that teaching is frustrating.
Very.
Because
the number of times I walked out.
It's frustrating because stuff you wanted to teach, but your child doesn't know.
No.
Again, the way you know your stuff is not how your child is going to know them. The approach you're going to use is probably not the best. And also remember, they are going to the school. So they know what a teacher looks like. And now here it's a mommy and daddy trying to be a teacher. So we wanted to wear many hats in the same space. And that is because we wanted to help our kids and support them in as much as we can, because in school they are not moving at the same pace with the other kids. The autism, ADHD, those kids, they really struggle and they move at a very, very slow speed because their brain has not developed to that stage until when they are lightly activated and triggered. So we started using these pet names in the house. For example, myself, when we moved to this space, I call myself Daddy Teacher. So they know now this is Daddy Teacher, and it is not the daddy we play around outside there. So when we go to play small games outside, I am now like their playmate, daddy play. We started using those, and it helps condition them that we are moving this right of a stage or this next activity, and this is what daddy does. So when I get a bit firm in class, they don't see the daddy who does not love them. They see daddy teacher who wants to make them better. We have gone through that process. So when they aren't speaking and they are non-verbal, you understand their emotions a lot by what they are expressing. Frustrations. We started, if you place things here on the table when they want to teach, they can throw them away on the ground. So when they do such stuff, we convert that into a play. Yeah. And just there I could just lay a mat and you know what, boys, let's do something. Let's jump around floor. Here on the floor. Yeah, let's do Play-Doh.
And the one thing I'm actually going to talk about is, I know there are parents out there who are saying, I tried to teach my kid, it just didn't work out. Well, I have news for you. It didn't work out for me as well. But then don't worry. Sometimes that's how it is, But luckily, I do have my husband with me, so I was like, Dad, do you want to try? And the funniest thing, it worked out with him. So we were like, okay, you will be doing the teacher classes, and I'll be doing, the other activities like baking, cooking, because they like those stuff as well. All these funny games that we do, bubbles and everything. So I was like, okay, I will do that, you'll do the serious stuff. So parents out there, like, if they refuse, it's fine. Don't stress yourself. If you can get someone else to do it, maybe your brother, your sister. If you have a nice support system, there's always someone in the family who is normally able to get through to your child. It's so amazing. I normally see Jaden with the aunties, and there's always this one auntie who just gets through to him. So they can try as well. And something else that works is if you can, take them for these tutorials. There are some centers. There was one center we used to take Jaden for maths and English, and he did really, really well there. Then we actually saw how they're doing it, and we brought some of it at home. But let me say, we've also been lucky because Jaden attends a special school which actually works with us at home. So what they're doing at school, we're able to do it at home as well. But anyway, I'll let Dad take over now because he does the daddy teacher classes, and I'll let him tell us how he does the classes. But then before even we get to that, I see parents saying, how are you able to teach a nonverbal child? How do you even make them say, the small words or to get to talk? And I remember with Jaden when we were starting and I was trying to teach him how to say milk and mama and everything. The one thing which speech and language told me is, when I'm teaching Jaden or when I'm trying to tell him anything that I want him to repeat back to me, I should always get down to his level. Because the one thing that people don't know, these kids who are nonverbal, when the best way to teach them how to talk is also for them to look at your mouth, how you're shaping your mouth when you're saying the letters. So let's say you're saying letter O, they know O. They just look at how you shape them. So it's good to get down to their level if you're also planning on slowly learning the alphabet or vowels and everything. Anyway, I'll let Daddy take over and tell us how he does the daddy teacher classes.
Yeah, so when I started, when Jaden was 5 and Justin was 3.5, both of them were non-verbal at that stage. So it wasn't much of that kind of a serious learning. It was more of activities to try and trigger their brains, because how this happened is I once visited Jaden's class, and it was more of those kind of things. You are just invited as a parent to come and see how your child is faring, and I saw my boys just, he used to sit at the back.
Jaden was so disconnected.
And I just observed that this kid does not understand what is going on here. And it's not that he is a naughty boy, it's just that he doesn't understand, and that is the end of it. So I said, I'll take it upon myself to really trigger cognitive development of this child. And for me, I always told mommy, you know what? I always believe that this kid can understand logic. And the moment I'll come and tell you, he does not understand it, now I'll know there is probably no much hope in here. But before we get there, I wanted to do it. So I started doing the stuffs. I know if a child who is nonverbal does not mean that they won't listen.
That's the thing.
The good thing is that they listen, and like mommy has said, you just observe the way they are coordinating the other senses, the eyes. You just look the formation of the face to know how his emotions are moving. how he's expressing his hearts. So increasingly, I used to look at stuff like even some signs and also try to use them in the way I'm teaching him. But we did start with just organization of the toys. Like we said before, kids with autism, they actually don't know how to play with the toys. So if you give them a couple of Thomas trains, they'll just organize them maybe in a straight line or in a circle or in different colors. So we started there to get a train, and then it moves, it makes certain sounds, and it picks passengers at a point. So we could go to the shop and buy the whole set of a train station and come and start playing with the Thomas. So basically, what you're trying to say is before even the child gets to talk, we learn sounds first. Choo choo, and these animal sounds, moo, oink oink, so that's what you're saying. And also, if you do it 1 or 2 3 times with him, like organization of a train station, the next time you just come and drop them everywhere. Just leave him for a couple of like that minutes and see how he'll organize himself. So the good thing with kids with autism is that they express themselves in an extraordinary way. So the way I had done the setup of the station is not the way he'll do it. He'll actually organize it in a way very innovative. And that from that now I started understanding his brain. There is a way it is perceiving things. If it is numbers, there is a way he is organizing them. You can not just teach him numbers the way we normally use. We also moved to the, what are they called, those men toys. Like policeman. The figures. So like many. All of them, And then you give him, sometimes he'll organize men in a battlefield and shooting, and then he'll start making those sounds. Now I realize this kid is moving somewhere. So the next thing now we improved a bit more. Like we could go outside and we could see a train passing. And he could make the same train that he used to make when we are doing the Thomas sets. Or we could go to the bus station and then he could start making those sounds. Then we moved on to things like they're watching some tutorials on YouTube. And then he started repeating them. So when we started now scribbling, like I can draw a train and just give him a pencil to see what he'll scribble. He drew something. Sometimes you can mention mommy, and then I can draw some, mommy, and then he probably add something. So increasingly they started adding a couple of other things. Like if a family, we are a family of 5, you could see when you draw one, like daddy, he'll add the others. And now you start seeing he is perceiving things. Because even I remember with the toys, because Justin loves his trains. And I remember that day he had organized his Thomases, and I took one and hid one. And he realized there's one is missing, and we were like, okay. So he gets how many is supposed to be there. He just can't tell us like how many is supposed to be there. So we did sequencing, we did like missing numbers in a couple of sets of the patterns toys as well. We did the patterns. Remember this time he is not talking but expressing himself, maybe emotions on how he is drawing and frustrations. If you give him a set of many colors, you start realizing there are certain colors he really wants. Like if it is blue all the time, he's selecting blue. My elder one used to pick green all the time. That's the kind of a pen or coloring he wants to do. Green. So you start giving him the things that he wants. Sometimes you hide them, and then you see how he would react, and you try to introduce another one. So increasingly you introduce him to a couple of more things. So that whole stage 1, it was more of trying to work out the way he organizes his thoughts, his brain, he expresses himself, the way he sees outside world, and he tries to perceive it, and also trying to work his muscles like the pen, get him hold a couple of things and encourage him. So we also introduced the reward system. For example, if I drop a couple of the sets of the games, like the trains, and I see him organize them in a way that makes sense, I could give him, sweets, or we could do other stuff. The second born liked to cook eggs. So once he does something good, we could go to the kitchen and you know what, it is egg making time. And he used to love it so much. And also you see even when they're in the kitchen, they're also learning something. So it was really good because daddy would do all those class stuff with them. Then they come to mommy kitchen. So 2 eggs, So increasing, moving on, the second born got his verbal side working very well, faster than the firstborn.
Yeah.
So in cricket, he started saying the normal words, one, two words, making sentences, and then I could tell him something and repeat. So what he did, and I don't know if parents have witnessed this, he started teaching the elder one.
I know,
You know,
yeah.
like if I tell them, go bring me a red pencil, he could repeat that and maybe tell Jaden, Daddy says, we go bring red pencil. So I started realizing that he is taking that charge. He knows this one can speak, but he wants it up and wants to help him.
Yeah.
While he did not speak, he was actually the one who was understanding more what I'm saying than the second born. So when they used to know to exchange, though he used to show the second born through action, not speaking. But increasingly he started also getting used to hearing words.
So it's like they were working together because Justin can speak, but his understanding hasn't developed to a certain level. He will go and tell Jaden, the non-verbal one, that he wants a red pen. And then Jaden would find the red pen, give Justin. That's teamwork.
Yeah, there was a very good teamwork. But also you see, it is how also the parents interact with them in the teamwork.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was here and I wasn't very good with the reading stuff.
Yeah.
For me, I'm more about the numbers. And I used to remember when I told you know what, take a book and just read to them. It doesn't matter whether they understand or they can hear what you are saying, or maybe just read it. And sometimes they used to enjoy, because before we do our bedtime, they could say, you know what, we want mommy to do us a story.
Yeah, and mind you guys, this is back in 2021. Like, that's how long it's taken us to get here.
Yeah, so the firstborn, because then also he could not speak, he just used it to just walk around the house and pick a favorite book that he wants and bring it to you. So he knows you flip book when you're reading, and it's these kids' book, they have a lot of pictures. He used to observe them. So that was the stage one. So them not talking did not discourage us from trying to teach them things. Yeah. We did, and we actually kind of assumed they are speaking even if they aren't. Yeah.
That's the one thing which I normally tell parents. Talk to these kids, only because they're not talking doesn't mean they're not understanding. And by you talking to them, that's how you get also your breakthrough. That's one day when you are just even not bothered, and you're there in the kitchen or maybe sitting room, and you say egg, and then they repeat egg, and you're like, so talk to them so that they can also, learn a few things from you as well.
Yeah. So stage two, it is again focusing one on cognitive development and communication, as well as learning how to do the teamwork stuff and socializing. Even if they are brothers and I'm the daddy and mommy here, we also need to scale down and socialize for the normal things. So those are the main things that we do in this room. So for the stage two, because it is very actionable, I'll just walk you through what I do. So the first thing is try to mimic what they know as a school is. So this area here you see, it's a normal desk, and it's very easy for them to just open, put their stuff in here, they can take a pen. So our rule is every day when you come in here, the desk is very empty, there is nothing. So he knows that he needs to open, take the book up, depending on what kind of stuff we want to do for the day. I will alert them before they come in here, and take their pencil and the rubber, and then they have the eraser. And if you want a sensitive toy, you can have it, and get ready for the stuff. The good thing about that setting is when they go to the school, they also remember these are the same stuff that we did. So, and it is the same thing for the second one. So what we also do is we have a set of several color pencils, and it's actually 75 stationary set.
Yeah, let me just bend it so you can see. So like all colors are in there. Yeah, so they can get to pick what they want to use.
Yeah, so we don't want to limit them to just what we have placed there. We give them the freedom do what you want, use what you want, whether you want to use a pencil or a pen, feel free, express yourself. Yeah. And that gives them a lot of creativity, because you see sometimes they are changing what they are writing, or they are scribbling, or they are drawing, they are coloring differently, which is very, very important. So we also place a pom pom like this ones, and sometimes sensitivity, just to make them calm when maybe they are working out numbers. So that is the setup. So as the daddy, when I come in here, I just convert myself to a teacher. I come from a lineage of teachers. My dad taught us the whole primary school, so I know a couple of few things about the class. So when they come in and they get their stuff out, is basically to ask them like a couple of things. How are you? How are you feeling? You know.
And for Jaden, it's always like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, there are days that they say they don't want to do it, but that is where as the teacher I come in with the discipline, and I say, you know what, boys, even if it is 5 to 10 minutes, let's just do something, and then we can move maybe outside and play, or we can go to the park.
And that's the thing, it doesn't have to be long. And this is what I was telling some parents back. Start with 1 minute. I remember Jaden, when they were working with him on his concentration, we started with 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be long. Just start slowly and build up the time, as time goes by.
Yeah. So for the next one, because I think I'll move around this one, maybe you can hold the...
Tumemaliza.
Yeah, see, hapa wametoa, so I just wanted to show them how we get them to write. Okay. Yeah, so when they are ready and we have finished the intros of a normal, the casualties of the class, and we are ready to read something. Of course, at their stage now, they are in KS1. That is like year 1, 2, and 3. We are not year 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. We are not doing a lot of stuff. It is the simple things of the numbers, addition, multiplication, division, and maybe we have started with the shapes and a little bit of geometry here and there. And then it is a couple of phonics, reading. We have started doing the storybooks, and maybe we can have a few things about the geography or animal stuff, science, a couple of things here and there. So, but the way I put my classes, it is very, very short, maybe 15 minutes, and then we can just break out, and then maybe we can come back again for like 15 to 30 minutes, not long. So I don't follow any structure. I just observe their moods and know what they can get. So for the numbers, it's very easy. The firstborn is very, very sharp when it comes to the numbers. So I basically, if I realize he knows maybe addition stuff, I can have him write the numbers he wants to add them up, and then he can show the secondborn how he's adding them up. Initially, I started by showing them a different ways of adding numbers. You can use those what we call them, we can use the pebbles to count. We can use the number blocks, and then we can use small things like you can draw the circles and count them, or you can draw 1, 1 and count them. Both of them, they selected what was good for them. So they used the number blocks, was easy for both of them. And then when it comes to writing, the elder one uses the sticks, can draw like sticks 1, 2, 3, 10 and count them. The second born just uses the zeros and the circles. You can draw circles 10 and then another circles 5 and then count all of them. And 10 plus 5, 15. Then I always go to YouTube, and then in the YouTube I can just come in here and get a class and select a couple of additions and have them follow. So most of the times I can come and give them the remote. And the good thing with this is we have fixed it with the Alexa. Remember, sometimes them typing things on the screen is not that good. So you can basically have them something easy for them. So they can press Alexa, play YouTube, number blocks, and they can see what they want. And then they can repeat it on the writing. So for the reading part, most of the times I just take my whiteboard, and I can come in and here write some alphabetical stuff or just a few sentences, and then we can start doing them just to observe whether it is making sense to them, and I can have them write and start reading to each other. That way, I see they have understood. Sometimes they just tell me, you know what, we wanted to write our own things. Like maybe they were outside and they saw some snails, they can say there are snails outside, and they can write that. Just let them do their thing. And then in here we have the phonics. So the elder one, because in school they are a bit ahead, so I have him teach the second one the phonics. The reason for that is that they use the English curriculum, and if the elder one understands, and that is what the second one will be taught, there is no need for me coming here and trying to show them a different thing. So I just let him teach. So he helps me with a lot with that. We have another one for the days. It was very difficult getting them to understand what day of the week or the month or the date it is. So I just used this one. So every day, if like tomorrow is the 13th, I just come there, what's this today? 13th, and we just place something on the 13th. Which day is it? It is Monday. And which month is it? It's May. And then you have them write that one down. So that we do that every morning before they go to the school. So on the other side, we have the multiplication. I have never gotten the logic of teaching them the multiplication. So for me, it's just there, read it, follow it. And the other one, actually, funny enough, he understands up to the 12 times 12. So he knows that square of the multiplication. And this one is just trying to play with the way they sequence the numbers. Sometimes I like to play with their head. So basically, that is how I said. So that is the cognitive development part. So the second thing I told you is about the communication and the way they are expressing themselves. So sometimes we just sit in this room and we try talking things like, tell me how your day was, and try to describe it, you know. The elder one is very good with what we call repeating, you know. There is a word for that, I can't remember now.
Echoing.
Yeah, echoing. Yeah. So he can echo everything that they were doing in the school. So the second born also not started trying that. I like that because whatever they are echoing, I try to bring it to the present moment, and then we talk about something which is happening. And then doing that, I see them developing the way they talk to each other, the way they communicate to us, and it is really helps them to develop verbally. The other one now, it's about to play. When they have done something good, I don't have to come to this room all the time. Like I said, I just like to spend 15 to 30 minutes. So I leave them to do whatever they want to do. There is toy boxes there. They can pick them up and just joke around with them, do whatever they want. And then down here we have the PS. This is PS4. So they know how to connect it to the TV, and they know how to set the wheels on the table and pull out the chairs and play. There are both of them, so they can play the games together and compete. So they love that very much. And then I realized that sometimes they like music and they like making their own notes. So we have a piano on the other side. So sometimes they can pull it down, and if I see someone seated on a stool here and then they are playing. So they enjoy. This is basically their activity room. Is there anything, Mommy, I have forgotten?
No, guys, like I think that is basically it, and yeah. So this is just our little, let me say, our little setup for them. But then, as we said, it didn't take us overnight. We tried this setup before. You remember when we were living in Portsmouth? It didn't work out. In fact, we converted that room to an office because we got so angry. It didn't work out. So finally, it's worked out on the third year. This is our third year. Guys, I always tell you, it's consistency, patience, but consistency is key. If it doesn't work out today, try it tomorrow, try it the following day, everything. Like when it came to teaching, we tried everything. I tried. I was like, no, for me it's not working. So you just accept your place. And I was like, okay, you know what? For me, if I'm good with the other activities, swimming and all that stuff, that's what I do with them on the side. Daddy, it works for him here. So I was like, Daddy, are you happy to be here? And I thank God for such a supportive husband. He was like, yeah, I'll teach them. And let me tell you guys, this kid with special needs, there's something else, because I came here one time and I was like, oh, because now they like the setup and they've settled in, let me try and teach them. I was chased out.
They said, Mommy is not teacher.
Yeah,
Daddy
they
teacher.
told me, Mommy not teacher. I was like, okay, guys. I was chased, but what I am happy about is that once they do their calculations and stuff, they always bring it to me to see. So guys, remember the key thing here is, for you to get to this point, first you have to identify what your child likes. If they like toys, the toys they like trains, fire engines, or whatever they like, Barbie dolls, you can use that to get through to them. That's what we use to get Justin to work on his numbers.
Yeah.
So first identify what they like, then go from there. If I'm honest, from my experience with these boys, it's not gonna work out if you just sit down and be like, I'm going to teach them what 1 plus 1 is or what 2 plus 2 is. It won't work out. These kids learn through play, they learn through visualization. Basically, they learn practically, you know. Use those trends, use those cars to teach them mathematics.
Yep.
Use those, I remember Jaden was in the kitchen and I was trying to teach him, but then in this house we learn everywhere. I was trying to teach him about things that are in the kitchen, and every time I removed an egg from the fridge I was like, what's this? And I'd be like, is it a potato? Like, no, it's an egg. You see, he never forgets. And the next time we are going through bread, practical teaching. Basically, what I say, learn the whole day. Yes, you do your 15 minutes and on that, but for me it's about learning throughout the day. When we go outside, we see a big bus, I'm like, wow, that's a big bus. What color is it? They'll be red, blue. They have learned colors. So just take the whole thing as a learning field. In the bathroom,
yeah,
I remember that's the one place which, fun enough, that's the only place I can teach them when they're sitting down. When they're in there in the bath, we would count bubbles and stuff like that. So for us, our whole house is a learning center. There's no like limitation.
Yeah, and someone may ask, isn't it overwhelming when they go to school and then at home you also teach them?
Yeah.
So special needs kids at school, they don't run like the mainstream.
They don't.
And one thing you realize is that the speed at which they move in at the school is not the speed that you are used to in the mainstream. And so what I do in here is that I don't compete with what they are doing in the school. If anything, we do complement. So every week I take the weekly curriculum in the school, and this is something we actually coordinate very well with their class teachers. And I say, if this is what you're learning in school, I'll try to amplify it at home. And that is how they get to learn very quickly.
And it's more fun as well because it's not repetitive as well.
Yeah.
And then also on the sidelines, put in some other activities like swimming. Jaden does karate on Monday, so on Monday we don't have to do the teacher. Put in music. Now Justin is into music all of a sudden, so I need to find him some lessons for that. Put in anything they're interested in. Can be baking as well.
Yeah, and also we do gardening.
And by the way, we do gardening as well. We just planted some maize, fingers crossed.
Yeah. So we try most of the things. And the thing is, they are not constrained with what we teach them. We actually don't teach them to be what we want. For us, like I said, we are just like a gateway. We are opening it for them to go outside there and be what they want. In fact, if tomorrow they come in and tell me, what, Dad, we don't want you to do that teaching. We are into music or we are into gaming. Basically. I'll just fold my tail and let them be. Yeah, like with Jaden, we've done so many activities. Sometimes he'll do them for 3 months, then he's like, it's boring now. And then we have to quickly go online and try and figure out some activities which he can participate in. So there's no limitation, and parents out there's some of you who this setup won't work out. Don't worry. You can go, I had someone who said that she normally teaches her daughter when they go out on picnics. Find what works for you and go with the flow. The advantage I have gotten with these boys is that for some good reasons, they don't forget.
They don't.
You teach them one thing, if it clicks, it clicks. The disadvantage and the most stressful thing I get is when they don't understand what I'm teaching them and I don't have the right way to put it. It's very, very frustrating. I feel like I can jump over the roof. And it's actually also very frustrating when you teach the elder one and he gets it and the second one does not get it.
Yeah.
Because at their level, it's like they are competing. So he'll just solve something,
yeah,
or be able to read something very fast,
yeah,
and then he look at the second one struggling,
yeah,
and he'll like, I beat you, haha.
yeah,
They watch, I think there's some cartoon that does that,
yeah.
and then the one starts crying, and I'm like, oh my god.
It's very challenging, it's very challenging sometimes, mentally, physically.
So in that instance, what I do is I recognize the firstborn for doing it,
Yeah.
and I'll try to steal some time with the secondborn,
Yeah.
and try to probably uplift his spirits and bring him to speed with what the firstborn does. So the second time that they come in, I'll actually give the secondborn the same problem to solve. And once he'll do it, he'll look at the other one and he's like, I also do it, haha.
I can do it.
And they're like, huh? You do it?
Yeah.
Well done. So I also teach them to recognize each other's efforts and encourage each other.
Yeah. But guys, even for us to get here, it's been a lot of mental drain. And for us even to be here and always talking stories about our boys, it's also the acceptance. We've accepted this is what God gave us. This is what we are working with, and we just took it. And let me tell you, since we accepted, it's been so easy. We've been able to find solutions to everything basically.
Right now, I don't even. When I have gone all through these things, sometimes I even forget that there are special needs, and I have just kind of blended in with it.
You do forget until Jaden decides to run away when we are outside. Then you remember,
yeah, so and I think that is it for me. Yeah. The teacher is done.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. So this is our space. So let us know what you guys are doing, and by the way, we have a WhatsApp group for parents raising children with special needs. Guys, please join there. We are there to uplift each other.
Yeah, and please tell me the things you are doing with your kids outside there. I also wanted to learn a bit more of the stuff. The ones I'm doing, they are kind of starting to feel boring.
I know.
I needed to upgrade. Dads, help me.
And guys, remember it's Mental Health Awareness Month. Remember to check on your mental health. Remember to also, you as moms and dads, to find activities that just, let me say, keep you sane. Yeah. Because let me tell you guys, the number of times I've felt like running away, but there's nowhere to run to. So I need to take care of my mental health for me to continue staying in it, guys. So thank you so much for watching us. We'll catch you guys next time.